and welcome to Get the Juice with Moose. I'm your host, Moose, and our guest for the day, Bowenthius. Hello, Bowenthius. Good morning to you.
Hello.
Welcome to the juicing chamber.
'Tis I, half-bodied Bowenthius, sitting on this lovely couch. The grin on my face when I saw this beautiful couch.
It's delightfully plush for a disembodied head.
It's such a lovely scene you've got concocted over here. You've even got two different juice boxes that look like they're identical, but they actually aren't, based on perspectives.
I hope it's delicious juice. It's probably not blended of tiny gremlin mooses, probably.
Probably not, I would hope not. Also, juicing me is not going to yield very favorable results.
Oh, lovely bone marrow flavor.
Mmm.
But speaking of bone marrow, please introduce yourself.
Greetings and well met. 'Tis I, Bowenthius the Bone Wizard, Osteomancer, Telepath, and overall wizard man of moving bones a lot. I also make bone puns sometimes. Did you know that the femur is the biggest bone in your body? I bet you knew that.
You know what? I did. I tried to look up some bone puns for you, but I thought, you know what? You're going to know them all. So you won't enjoy a bone pun that I have.
I mean, you honestly, half of the puns that I have in my repertoire are actually gathered from my lovely, beautiful scions that share them with me on stream. So honestly, you could genuinely surprise me.
In that case, I shall ponder and perhaps return with a bone pun. However, I will start with today. You are here to be juiced. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, which will get down to getting to know you more and more on a level which perhaps people never even needed to know that they needed to know you, but they will know you after that. So.
Oh, I hope the people will enjoy.
So first, now you've introduced yourself once, can I ask you, this time, to introduce yourself again, but this time only using 3 emojis. You can describe the emojis.
That is an excellent question, and I am definitely prepared to answer.
I gotta put you on the spot. The blender is working, you know?
Well, I mean, the thing with me is that it's pretty simple for 2. You have the skull and you have the bone emojis. They are a very obvious thing. But the thing is that I think I actually had this as a premise before, because, you know, the whole thing about how VTubers in Japan have Oshi marks and Oshi symbols and all that, and they have certain emojis that they identify with. And I tried to come up with some of mine outside of the bone thing, but I couldn't. So I guess a red circle and the bone emojis would be my 3.
Excellent. Honestly, that was what I was going to go as well, because red and bones.
Yes, I am Red Bones, except I'm not named Red Bones because my bones are not red.
But what if they were?
They would be covered in technically speaking, well, actually, no, at this point in the decay of a human body, all the blood's probably dried out and coagulated, so it's probably not very red in there. You don't want to know what's under this armor.
Crunchy brown bread. That's how they make brown bread. Did you know?
You can definitely describe a decaying human corpse as brown bread.
Yummy. Well, that is Cockney rhyming slang. Brown bread is dead, I believe.
Is it?
I believe so. Feel free to correct me if I am incorrect on that. I'm not that brushed up on my Cockney, but I do believe Cockney rhyming slang for dead is brown bread.
The only thing that I know about brown bread is it is a phrase that was repeated a lot during several Only Plays playthroughs, which is a channel of an Irishman who went to America who made a Let's Play channel on YouTube, and that's all I know. He kept saying brown bread, and I don't know why to this day. It just sounds funny. It's one of those ADHD noises that is just stapled onto my brain that I repeat every now and then when I'm alone in the dark.
It tickles your brain just the right way.
Yes.
No, I can appreciate being tickled in the right way of the brain. But speaking of like tickling the brain, what would you like your favorite music?
Melodic death metal.
Melodic death metal? Ooh, nice. I you know what? That doesn't surprise me, but also nice. Leading into that, what's your favorite instrument? Doesn't actually like. Is it going to be like drums and electric guitar, or is it something like a harp? What are you kind of into? Is it?
So that is a multifaceted, multi-dimensional question. Are you asking what my favorite instrument to play, or what my favorite instrument on an emotional level is, on a subjective sort of experience-based level? I guess the answer to that question is, if I want to ever play it and I would seriously take up playing it, the drums, 100% the drums. I am Unga Bunga man, I love banging on things.
Hell yes.
But if you ask me for a more profound answer, I would have to say the piano, because there was this cute little anime girl in a video game called Doki Doki Literature Club that played the piano, and that got me very invested and interested. And also, the piano is kind of like a keyboard, and I've been on a keyboard for many decades at this point, so it feels like it would be the most fitting thing for me. And also, I've been told I have fingers like a pianist, so
you have long slender hands that are easily movable.
yeah.
Nice. Is there any particular piece of, you say like the piano kind of like touches the heartstrings, and would you like is there any particular piece where you just like you hear it and you just like, be still my heart, or is that just kind of like just general, slow haunting melody sort of dealy bobs?
Well, if I could actually Google what the song is called, it's literally for the same reason. The song that plays at the end of Doki Doki Literature Club features piano a lot, and it's called Your Reality. And that song absolutely sends my everything into just, I don't want to use the word ecstasy because I feel like that's a bit too much, but for lack of a better term, that.
You know what? After this, I'll go and have a little listen to that.
I can actually send you the link already. 1 second.
Oh, perfect. I shall do that. I should do that directly afterwards. I cannot play that right now because,
There you go.
TUS and whatever else, but I'll have a little
Yes,
listen.
of course. Well, actually, funny you should mention that, because technically speaking, this game, the original game that was released in 2016, is actually free. So I don't think you would actually get copyright struck. But let's not test that theory, shall we?
Let's not test the theory out, just in case.
The closest I ever got to playing the piano was a mod for this game that allowed you to actually simulate a piano using your keyboard, and it basically teaches you all the notes for that song, and I actually managed to do it. It was kind of like an Undertale boss fight, except it was with piano keys, and it was very fun, and I was a master of that for the whole 10 minutes, because piano is very fickle, where if you don't practice it every 10 seconds, you will very much lose it. It's the reverse of a bike.
Yeah. No, I know this as someone that has a piano in my living room, and if I dedicate myself, I can play something on it. But if I leave it more than like 2 days, what is a note? what is this? So yeah, I can fully appreciate that. But you go on the way of like playing it on your keyboard using the game. I feel like you could probably pick it up on a piano pretty quickly as well, because there's, what's it called, like flow keys or something, which is like, it's essentially a rhythm game for your piano, and it tells you the notes to press. So I reckon if we gave you a piano, you could like bust it out within an hour or so.
I'd be very keen to try at the very least. It's been a curiosity of mine for at least half a decade at this point.
Perfect. I feel like you should. I believe in you. I believe in you. Do it.
Just adding to my repertoire of voice actor, level designer, environmental artist, 3D modeler, and all those other things that I do. Pianist as well.
Yeah, we'll just add it to the list. We'll go, just like, that list will be a mile long by the time we're done with you.
Jack of all trades. Every single trade you could think of, I'm a jack in them.
Exactly. And anything possible. You put like dentist, yep, can do that, because that's just bones, judge, yep, you can do that too. But everything. Police officer, you name it, tick it off. We can do everything.
You're reminding me of a beautiful skit by Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele, I believe. Key and Peele is what they are. Where that's exactly the premise. As a police officer, he learned to remain cool. As a judge, he learned the laws of the world. As a chiropractor, he learned to have a steady hand. As a crack hoe, he learned to go days without food. And as a narrator, he learned how to narrate this intro coming soon on Judge Jesse. and then he applies every single one of the things that it said in the intro that he learned on this one court case, and it was genuinely amazing. And then he ends the skit by smoking a big fat doobie.
Oh.
It was delightful.
Well, speaking of, being as a narrator, who would you have to narrate your life and why? If you could have anyone in the world, just narrate everything. You don't have to hear them. They could just be like, a disembodied overlord somewhere that everyone else can hear. Who would you have narrating your life?
Well, the obvious answer is Morgan Freeman, not because I have a particular fondness for his body of work. Of course, I love The Shawshank Redemption. It was an absolutely beautiful film, and he was in it. But the real reason why I would pick Morgan Freeman is because there was a old, ancient at this point YouTuber called CNanners that had a bunch of parodies when he was playing a source mod called The Hidden Source. And one of the skits that he did was one of his friends was pretending to be Morgan Freeman, and it was an absolutely spot-on, perfect impression that was capitalized on by all the laughing, and was just a beautiful skit that is forever immortalized in a compartment of my mind. But to completely ignore all of that, Patrick Sykes.
Patrick Sykes.
I love that man's voice.
Patrick Sykes. Are you gonna have to refresh me? Who is this?
I have him bookmarked on IMDb. Let me explain. Oh yeah, you don't watch dubs, but hey.
Occasionally. I might know.
My Hero Academia Endeavor.
Oh, okay, right. I know the voice. We're good.
Dragon Ball Super Jiren. Let's see. Why is there not he also voiced Scorpion in Mortal Kombat.
Ah.
What else did he do? He's known for a lot of things. He has at least 600 works that he has participated in as a voice. He is a beautiful, beautiful voice, and he's one of my inspirations towards becoming a voice actor. I just love listening to him speak.
Ah, I love that.
Oh yeah, he was also Dio in the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure dub.
I've never seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
That's okay. It's a dying art form at this point.
I feel like everybody's seen JoJo except for me. I judged JoJo pretty harshly, and in a way that most people were like clutching their pearls, because I watched half of one episode.
The whole dog thing?
No, not even that. I watched half of one episode and I was like, it's kind of ugly, and then I went to something else. That was it. I was like, it didn't immediately capture my my gremlin nature. I was like, yeah, I'll do something else, and then I never picked it up again, despite every man and their dog telling me how good it is.
Well, you specified, man. It is very much a. There's not really a word to describe it. I remember when I first started watching, and I was like, yeah, you know what, this is okay. And then I got to the part where it really kicks off, and then I realized why it was so beloved and why it's garnered such a cult following. But yes, I definitely feel like first impressions, it is very, for lack of a better term, stylized. Let's put it. So that might not be your cup of tea, considering all the less than couth outfits they have, especially in the later parts, 4, 5, and beyond. 3 was starting to take off in terms of the kooky wackiness for the outfits, but I feel like it really happened from 4 and onwards, because it was really growing the identity of the series at that point, in my opinion. I'm not a diehard JoJo fan, mind you. I have just perused the source material to see what the hubbub is about, and I can respect it.
No, that's fair.
It exists.
No, I know, like a lot of people that if they like it, they like it, So it's interesting to hear that you're not a diehard fan, because most of the people that I have conversed with about JoJo is like JoJo is their ride or die, you know.
Yes.
And it's like, you must watch it. It's like, okay, I'll watch more than half an episode. I'll try. And it's still on my I'll try list.
I think what it does is certainly something that should be respected, but at the same time, I don't feel like any piece of media, regardless of how good it is, garners that kind of obsession. Not even JoJo. I definitely believe that my opinion of the series as a whole has somewhat been sullied by the personal and direct interactions I've had with some of the people that call themselves diehard fans, as is many a times the case. Fandoms tend to not really shine what they are fanatic about in the best of lights, and that is a very unfortunate irony that we have to face. So it is very important to take in media without any outward knowledge of the circumstances and the people surrounding it. All that. Just judge it for the media and not the people that consume said media.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Because there's plenty of things out there with toxic fan bases. So
yeah,
that's one thing I always say is like, enjoy something, but maybe don't look at the fan base, because you're always gonna find some people in there are just something else. I know there are some things that are more something else than others, but that is the way. But as you were here getting juiced, let's go back to the juicing. What is your favorite beverage?
Cider.
Cider, interesting.
If I have to be a big if I have to be a big adult man, I'd say apple cider. But if I decided to be a tiny child, I would say chalky milky.
Chalky milk. Let's go. I'm quite partial to strawberry milk personally. If I was going to pick a milkshake.
Fair enough.
Apple cider.
I just like chocolate, and chocolate milk is that in liquid form. So it's just taking something I already love and submitting it to me in the form of a beverage.
That's fair enough. You say chalky milk. What about like the thick chocolate milkshakes? You know, the ones blended with ice cream? Or would you prefer like just chalky milk, not chunky milk?
I am a fan of the sensation of my tongue being set ablaze by the heat of the chocolate. The idea behind milkshakes is a good one, and I respect it, and I would enjoy them if they were handed to me, but it is not something that I would seek out under regular circumstances.
I see. So your favorite flavor for milk beverages is chocolate. What is your favorite flavor in general?
Banana.
Banana. Do you like chocolate-covered banana?
I like banana ice cream with chocolate flakes. I like banana milkshakes. I don't know what it is about banana. It's just the taste of it makes me happy. I eat bananas almost every day. I am a banana mind on the banana grind set banana maxing for reasons unknown. But yes, chocolate and banana is my go-to. Also, this question was posed to me earlier in my life, and I gave the answer of vanilla, and I was chastised over the blandness of my choice.
Why? What's wrong with vanilla?
So I have to quickly think of something more palatable and interesting than vanilla. I am, as you probably know, an aficionado of having an avoidant restrictive intake disorder, which makes me a picky eater because certain textures and combination of flavors make me projectile vomit like a banshee. And as such, I have developed an extremely bland and basic, almost vanilla-esque, if you will, taste palette repertoire. So...
And there is nothing wrong with that, you know? I'm a big fan of, like, don't put down what other people like. You know? If you like a vanilla, then vanilla's good.
You should have been my first clue that I was in with the wrong crowd. They chastise a man for liking vanilla? Funnily enough, I don't talk to those people anymore.
Yeah, there is nothing wrong with liking vanilla. Vanilla is nice. I would say like vanilla. What's the vanilla flavoring comes from like beaver anal glands. Don't have that, but actual vanilla, good.
What are the words that just came out of your mouth?
Okay.
Excuse me? Can we do a double take on that? What did you just say?
Okay, so artificial vanilla flavoring is extracted from beaver anal glands, or it used to be at least. I think they possibly have more, savory ways of doing that now. So really, when someone says what's your favorite flavor and you say vanilla, really you're saying your favorite flavor is beaver anal gland, and if that's not the most metal thing I've ever heard, or deranged, either or.
Unhinged, let's call it, but I can retort with my own fun fact of a similar caliber. Red food dye is extracted from bugs.
Beetles.
Yes.
What's it? It begins with C. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah. I know.
Something like that, yes.
Yes.
They have it on the back of the packaging, but they have it under a weird Latin esoteric name that nobody understands. But it's basically just saying beetle extract.
Beetlejuice. Yum yum.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Ah! Also,
I've never watched that, by the way.
You've never seen it?
No, I just know the memes.
It's all right. It's like it's just cheesy.
It's like JoJo.
Yeah. It's something. It's something. It's one of those. I think it's a Marmite thing. People either love it or they hate it.
Well, I have not watched it, so I cannot form an opinion on it.
Yeah, no, I watched it semi recently because they made like a sequel. Halloween last year, I believe. It was fine. It was kind of. It was like, that's fine. Okay, that was a time that I spent watching things. That was kind of my opinion of the movie. That was a time that I spent watching things.
Excellent.
So I know that you not really able to tolerate a lot of things like texture-wise. Is there anything in the world that looks tasty to you, but is not food? Like if you look at it, you're like, oh, that's a nice looking rock. I bet that would taste good if it was a flavor. Or is that, do you know anything in the world you're like, I reckon that'd be tasty if it was edible?
9-volt batteries.
Yeah? Like the spicy flavor of electricity?
The taste of copper, for some reason, is alluring to me.
And pennies as well?
Well, I mean, for some reason, it's a very strange phenomenon where pennies don't particularly, they still have it, but they feel more cold and without any flavoring, while batteries, I think it is actually the electrical current running through it. It doesn't really feel spicy or zappy, it just feels more. So if I had to go with something inedible, that would probably be it.
Do you know what I feel this is like a tune to? Like Dr. Robotnik licking one of Sonic's scales. Like, blah, blah, blah. Kind of that sort of sensation.
Basically, yeah. Yeah, basically.
Okay. So that was, what, it's fine. I'll, yeah, you want to be powered up, that's fine.
If you hook me to an electrical current, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine, especially considering that my armor is made out of copper, which I believe is conductive.
Is your armor made of copper because you think it looks tasty?
No, it's made out of copper because this is the body I found myself in when I woke up out of a hole.
Did you wake up out of a hole because you were tasting a body's armor?
I refuse to comment.
That is fair. Okay, do you have an unusual, shall we say, personal preference that's like a hill that you're weirdly willing to die on? Like, cereal's better without milk, or socks should always be odd, or anything like that?
Like I said, fanaticism is bad, and I try not to be overly zealous when it comes to any of my beliefs. Except for all the moral ones, of course. But let's not get into that sort of a thing.
No.
I feel like this question is more towards something that's simply a subjective matter.
Yeah.
I do enjoy the concept of wearing socks in bed while sleeping. I never really take them off. I understand that there are a lot of people that find that unhygienic, and at the very least, they don't go to bed with the same thing they've been stomping around all day, which I can definitely find respectable. And if I was a bit more hygienic, I'd probably switch socks whenever I go to bed. But yes, I wear socks in bed. That's one thing that I can say. It's not necessarily a hill that I would die on. It's just, I guess it's not something that I considered and thought about to the point where I'd want to take the socks off and they just stayed on, and that's just something that I got used to, and I just don't think about it.
No, that's fair. I personally am of the no socks in bed, but then I would get hot feet, and that would annoy me. So,
Mm.
so yes, I'm on the opposite side of things. Just like I say, I would get hot feet. I am someone who always has cold feet, but I don't like the idea of waking up in the middle of the night with like sweaty toes. That's bleh. Do you not get like, do you have like particularly cold feet while you're sleeping? Is that what it is?
I Again, it's not something that I really considered. It it's not it's very weird to explain because it's not something that I'm conscious of. It's not a temperature thing. I don't really feel any discomfort in my feet with or without socks. It just is.
Mm.
The only discomfort I feel is the fact that I wear socks all the time, constantly. My legs have developed lines where the socks finish, and it can get itchy sometimes
Mm.
because my feet basically do not breathe. It's a very very weird thing. Imagine a fully hairy gorilla man, and then where you basically see an outline of pure clean bare skin where you would imagine socks would be. It's like a perfect outline where the hair ends and the perfect clean skin begins.
That
It's
that's
a
that's
very strange phenomenon.
that's what they swapped your feet over. Interchangeable
Yeah,
feet.
basically.
That's the cut line.
It's like if you go into character customization, I'm the same model, top to bottom, except when you get to the feet where it looks like my feet have been exchanged with somebody else's. It's a very strange visual phenomenon. But one thing that I've started doing recently, I've noticed, is that I used to go, not only do I also wear full socks, I also have a full set of pajamas that I go to bed in. I take off the pants now for some reason. I don't know. It's the warmth I get from the blanket is more comforting to me, to my bare legs, than with clothes on. And also it's the temperature exchange after you get up, because when you have been sleeping and you're comfortable in a blanket and then you take the blanket off, you immediately feel the rush of cold and the temperature exchange.
Mm.
And I circumvent that by not having pants on, and then when I get out of bed, I put the pants on. And then sort of I basically take the blankets with me in the form of pants.
Ah.
Does
Okay.
anything I've said in the past 5 minutes make any sense?
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Does like, here's my question now then, and if this is too personal, feel free to just be like, stop. Does wearing socks but no pants not feel like more naked than just being naked? Like if I was just wearing socks, I would feel a heck of a lot more naked than if I was not wearing anything.
Mm, Again, not something that I think about. I don't really feel any more or less naked with socks on. Uh, I feel more naked without any pants on. I can guarantee you that.
Well, that's because you are more naked.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's because the pants are a very large article of clothing, and once you take them off, you definitely feel visually and physically more naked. But with or without socks, I've never considered it. I guess I feel like a gross caveman without socks on. There was a point in my early childhood where I used to go barefoot all the time, and it would make the soles of my feet become horribly disfigured with dirt and grime.
Mm.
And weirdly enough, that wasn't actually the reason why I stopped doing that. The reason why I stopped doing that was, I just had socks on and was too lazy to take them off. So
Yeah,
it
that's
was
fair.
more convenient to have socks on than otherwise.
No, I
Now,
understand that.
now it's just my life.
No, I can understand that. Like, also, like, socks on, it keeps them cozy, stops like stuff getting on them. If you stand on something, you have a sock protective layer. So, and also, you're
Mm.
speaking to someone who loves socks, not in bed, mind. Yeah, socks come off at bed, but someone who loves socks. So, I love a good sock.
The socks come off then.
Well, yes.
Mm.
I'm also,
Now
I want
that's
to.
mm. Something that is a question for you. Let's flip the tables around and juice you for a second.
Okay.
What is your perspective, opinion, and all of these things on thigh high socks?
Thigh high socks. They're cozy.
Yes.
I like them. They're comfy. They're also kind
Do,
of sexy. You know?
do they still occupy the same space in your brain that tells you that these are socks, or does it feel like because they're so long and elongated, they feel like pants at that point?
No, definitely, because, like, okay, pants come from the bottom. No, pants come from, like, the waist down. Socks come from the feet up. So, like, tights, which are, they cover the feet and come all the way up, they're still socks, even though they come from, they start at the feet. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yeah, I understand the idea here. So, I see. So tights and thigh highs and socks and all of those things fall under the same category because they start from the foot and go upwards rather
Mm-hmm.
than pants, which you put on and they have holes for your feet.
Yes, exactly.
So that means that the exact same rules would apply where you would take them off to go to bed.
Yes.
You wouldn't go to bed with tights.
No, absolutely not. That would be very unpleasant for me.
Noted.
But, like, I'm a fidget. I like to be easy breezy, fair, and not tangled in everything. So, because I'm like, if Mr. Moose is not there, I'm like upside down, inside out, flipped around, facing the other way in the blanket. I am moved too much to have too many bits and pieces on me.
Deltor is asking the real questions. What is a full body onesie to you then?
Is that a sock? Well, they don't cover your feet, do they? So it's just a onesie. That's a different category. That's just snuggly. Cozy. Also, I wouldn't do a onesie because it's a pain in the butt if you have to pee, because you should take most of your clothes off to urinate, and I'm lazy, all right? that's too much effort. Bathrooms are cold, typically speaking, and if I go to pee and I have to take off 95% of the clothes I'm wearing to urinate, I'm gonna hate that. So
100% understandable. I have two solutions to that. Heat in your bathroom and have a wanger.
definitely I can't do one of those.
I can do one of those and it's great. The convenience is out of this world.
Darn it, I don't have convenient pee departments. Like, we just, like, usually the bathroom window is just slightly cracked open, let some air flow through and stuff. So it's always just a little bit chilly. And in winter, it's not just a little bit chilly in there, it's bloomin' freezing. So, and winter is when I'd normally, if I was going to, wear a onesie. So I don't want to get cold. So that's my take on that.
Fair enough. You'd be surprised how far tech has come.
It has come far. I don't have any, like, as far as I'm aware, I have not invested in any tech that could assist in that personally. But yeah, well, going on ridiculous tech. What is one ridiculous fact that you know by heart? Is there a ridiculous fact that you can just regurgitate at a moment's notice?
Honeybees have hair on their eyes?
On their eyes.
Yes.
Ooh, that's so
Yes.
itchy. That makes me
Yes.
itch just thinking about that.
You had the exact same reaction the first time I told you this.
Yeah, and then I just remembered that I had this reaction and thinking about it, and it still makes my eyeballs itch.
Well, I'm not very. I'm the type of person that likes to get prepared and work in advance So if you put me on the spot, I am going to go with things that I know on the spot. And there are two things that I memorized from a YouTube video that I do not believe exists any longer by popular YouTuber Zooral. It was a combination of weird. It was basically a bee and a girl, and the bee went in the soup of the girl who was at a restaurant, and they kept exchanging weird facts for some reason. And the only two things I remember them exchanging was the dot above the letter I is called a tittle, and honeybees have hair on their eyes. Those are the two things that are implanted in my mind for all eternity. So that is, I guess, the most deranged fact I can give you.
Huh. Now I'm thinking of a poor honeybee that fell in the soup and then has hairy soup eyes. Like, you know, already having soup in your eyes is bad, but if you've got hair soup eyes, that's the worst.
Well, at the end of the video, the girl eats the bee alongside the spoon, so she basically bites the whole thing off. Yeah, it's a fun little animation. If I find it, I'll share it. But
oh, it's an animation. Oh my god, I thought you meant. I thought you...
No. I guess I should have specified animated YouTuber Zooral.
Sorry, I just imagined two people at a restaurant. I was like, oh no, there's a bee. And then...
And an anthropomorphic bee? Then the CG would be out of this world.
Look, there's a whole movie about that, and the woman fell in love with the bee. It was very weird.
Oh, the bee movie. I remember that. That was one of the cultural milestones of our generation.
It was a thing. Speaking of it being a thing, there are plenty of people that would like just ban that because it was like, what the heck is this? But if there was a word that you could ban from the English language, what would it be and why? And why do so many people hate the word moist? Is it the word moist?
Moist. I remember somebody that hated the word moist. For some reason, it sent them into shocks of disgust, and I still to this day do not understand what the problem is with the word moist.
No, same.
But to answer your question, ironically, I was using all of that time to talk about my relationship with the word moist to come up with an answer to your question, but I cannot. I can only focus on the words that I'm currently transmitting out of my mouth hole. I cannot think in multiple dimensions.
No, understandable. As I said, I'm putting you on the spot. I'm just forcing you into the blender right now. I could have forewarned you of all of this, but like, nah.
You could have, but that wouldn't be fun. You wouldn't be juicing me then. You'd be lightly shaving the ends. Like you're basically working with the crust rather than the juice.
Yes, yes.
The only thing that I'm thinking of are the lyrics to Skibbity Toilet, which aren't really lyrics. But that, like I said, that's the first impulse that comes to my brain.
I just ban the whole lyrics.
I know there was genuinely a word that falls under this exact category that you are currently trying to pull out of me, but for the life of me, I cannot remember it at this moment.
That is fine. If you remember it later, like, you know, accidentally say it and trigger a horrible kind of like, I hate that word moment, please tell me.
see, the thing is that over the course of my life, I've been a hater of many things, and I realized that is not the way to be. Same thing with revenge and all that. So I have definitely gone to very long lengths to let go of any form of hatred, even if it's for a comedic premise. Like, oh, that word sucks. But like at the end of the day, hatred is still hatred, even if it's for something benign. So I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. I could very well be wrong. But my point is that even benign things like this are things that I've gotten rid of in my subconscious. I am trying to be a Buddhist monk, okay?
I can get on with that. I can get behind that mentality, 100%. Because like, it's just a word, but I know that some people feel very passionately about certain words, like, you know, moist. But
moist.
Moist. Just moist. Upsetting people right now, just repeating that one word.
What is your moisture content?
Such a weird 70%? Sentence.
Oh, believe me, that is a question that was posed by scientists, and they found the answer through less than wholesome means.
I feel like my brain is going to a weird place right now, and I don't know if that is the place that they were going.
Mm. I guess the only thing that I can think of at this moment, because I can't live without this is unfinished business. You're giving me unfinished business because I haven't answered your question. So to answer your question, I'm gonna go with gyat because I feel like it's just a longer way to say ass, and we already have ass.
This is true.
There you go.
And there is a longer way of saying ass, and it's ass.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that I actually counterpoint to this is I really like how culture and modern society is shorten the word charisma to Riz and the Rizzler. I find that very fun because it genuinely shortens it and makes it's the kind of slang that I think is very, because the idea of slang to me, like this is my perception of slang, is that it should do the same thing that the original word does, but shortens it, makes it sweeter, better, and just more quick and snappy and usable. And I think Rizzler falls under every single one of those points and categories, which is why I like it a lot. But Gat, it doesn't, because you have ass.
Also, gat doesn't roll off the tongue. It sounds very, like, you know, I don't know. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't feel good coming out of the mouth. And you're like, ooh, ass, or gat. It sounds like a farmer clearing his throat. Yeah, let's go get a pig. You know.
And also, a middle ground between Rizzler and Gat for me would be using Ohio as a slang term, because that's just the name of a place. And I find it funny because you just randomly mention, is Ohio a state? I think Ohio is a state. If it's not, please correct me. I don't know geography.
No.
It's fun. But at the same time, it's weird. What does it even mean? I don't know.
I am not down with the kids. I'm not down with the kids. Oh no, maybe I need to start using gat as like a old man noise. Gat. Well, I don't know.
And kids, get out of my house. It's what my grandpappy does when he accidentally coughs out a spleen.
Delightful. What do you think a spleen smells like?
Like clay?
Like what?
Like a combination between the smell that you get when rain pours on concrete and then dries out, plus clay. Final answer.
That's a very specific smell. I'm having never smelt a spleen, I cannot confirm one way or the other, but you know what? I'll take it. But if you going with smells, if you had to smell like one thing for the rest of your life, what would you pick for you personally to smell like?
For me to smell like, or
Yeah.
for me to? Okay, so the one thing I'd like, well,
Yeah, so for everyone that walks past you, if they get it with you, they're like, oh, you smell like meh. What would be your smell? Whether that's a signature.
Smith apples.
Rancid apples.
Granny Smith apple. Not rancid. Why would I want to smell like rancid? Wow. Beautiful.
That's why I was like, rancid? Why?
Granny Smith apples. The green ones, the ones that are sour, those ones. Granny Smith apples, not rancid apples. Thank you.
Granny Smith apples is nice. It's like a nice, crisp, fruity smell. I like that.
Yeah.
This is much nicer much nicer than rancid apples.
I would tend to agree.
Yeah, no, I would rather not smell like a rancid apple. But Granny Smith is a very nice smell. And also, like, Granny Smith as well, like, you can make a nice apple pie with those. So, like, I don't know if could you tweak your natural aroma to smell like warm apple pie as well on occasions if you're feeling like, I don't know, frisky or something. Today I smell like warm apple pie.
That's what I would smell like in the sauna.
Ah. You know what? That's fun.
There
On
you go.
particularly warm days, you smell like apple pie. On a cold winter's day, you smell like a crisp Granny Smith. That's a nice
We are
comment
evolving
to
the Bowenthius lore today.
So, like, did you ever have any irrational childhood fears? Like, like one day you're gonna grow up and smell like rancid apples or anything like that. Or, the Hoover was
dark.
gonna suck you up or the moon monsters were gonna chase you. Did you have anything, like, completely irrational you were scared of when you were a child? We're juicing a little bit deeper now.
The dark.
Of the dark. What specifically about the dark?
There were many points in my life when I was a wee creature of small stature where I would constantly imagine things. Oh, this actually brings up some suppressed memories. Oh, okay. So we have the full story now.
Mhm.
Right. So the reason why I was afraid of the dark was because every time it was completely dead silent and dead quiet, I would constantly imagine and psych myself out. I'd imagine there's shapes, there's creatures in the dark, sort of like sleep paralysis demons, but I was fully awake. I've only experienced sleep paralysis once in my life, and it was absolutely terrifying. But I was weirdly intrigued because I never experienced that before, and I was 100% sure it wasn't real, but it felt so insane to me that my body was capable of doing that. My experience of a sleep paralysis demon was where I was completely stuck in one position on my side, and on my back that was exposed, I could feel like something with extremely long fingers slowly, not necessarily grab me, but like caress against my back into my shoulders and onto my head. And it was very slow, and I could genuinely feel somebody's hands on me. And I was so petrified of moving or turning around because I was imagining what it was based on the sensation of the feeling that I was getting. And it felt so real and so genuine, but there was absolutely nobody there. It was all in my head. And that is the only experience I've had of sleep paralysis demons. And that was very much when I was in my adult part of my story.
That's quite terrifying,
And I
honestly.
was honestly very intrigued by it, and it was very interesting. But to go back to your question, the reason why I'd imagine things in the dark as a Bobby child was because I was under a very peculiar kind of upbringing where we were given a television set in our bedroom with my sister, and we would watch wrestling, WWE, Raw, all of those things. And there was one point during that show where they had, I forgot what his name was. It wasn't the I genuinely forgot, but it was a wrestler with a mask. Something, I don't remember what his name was, but it was a wrestler with a mask. And he stopped wearing the mask, but during one of the shows they showed the mask again. It was like a demon speaking in his ears. No, it wasn't Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio never took off the mask. Kane, yes, that's his name, Kane. It was Kane. And it was basically an episode where they had the mask sort of whisper in his ears, and it distracted him during the match. And as a tiny child, I thought that mask was real and that it was coming for me. And I had to sleep with my parents for quite some time because I was so absolutely petrified of wrestling, of that specific instance. I remember it was living rent free in my head for weeks after I saw that.
Oh,
It
no.
was absolutely just petrifying to me as a child. And that is how it sort of evolved into the fear of the dark, where I was constantly imagining shapes and demons in the darkness when I was alone, and I constantly covered my head with the blanket. It's still haunting to this day.
All right,
So,
it got into you and tricked your child brain into thinking like this is going to be a big deal.
oh, absolutely. It felt like it was going to be something that would happen to me, where the demon mask would come to possess me and steal my body. And I imagined, because I have this double-edged sword known as I forgot, it was hyper something, hyper photo something where I could basically imagine a perfectly three-dimensional color, all the details in my mind's eye, anything I can imagine. I have a very vivid and hyperactive imagination,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the ability to visualize things better than most people. I think it comes with the ADHD territory,
Mm.
where some people can't even visualize things when they close their eyes. But I see the images, I see the things, and that really didn't help me as a child because I managed to imagine in full HD demonic horrors coming for my soul, and that
Mm.
was very frightening as a child.
Yeah, I can imagine that because it's one thing to hold this abstract thought in your head, which is like how my mind's eye sees. It's quite another for the thing to just be right there in full 4K, ready to come for you. Yeah, I can see why that would be quite terrifying. I hope you don't have any like residual nightmares about this, or occasionally your subconscious is like, "Hey, you haven't thought about this for 10 years. Here, have a nightmare."
Oh no, absolutely not. This is the first time I've thought about this in said 10 years, and I'm only thinking about it in the sense that, wow, this was a really stupid thing that I used to do when I was a child, because I'm now looking at it from the perspective of a fully developed human brain,
Mm.
or at least as far as I'm concerned, fully developed. And I just find it silly because nowadays the only thing that scares me, I used to be scared of playing the Ravenholm section in Half-Life, the thing that you've gone through at this point. I used to
Mm-hmm.
be terrified of playing Dead Space,
Mm.
and those were the great milestones in my childhood where I managed to get through those sections in those games
Mm.
successfully. But nowadays, nothing. The only thing that gets to me is just games taking advantage of my instincts and just startling me.
Mm. Jump scares.
Nothing nothing really scares me like it did back in the day with the funny Kane mask. I'm sad to say. The only thing that scares me nowadays is the horrors that man has committed upon this earth.
Which arguably far more scary, but yes.
Yes, because they have real world implications.
The real monsters were us all along.
Very much the pros and cons of imagination, yes.
Um. Okay, so gonna move from like scary things to good things. If you had three
Ooh.
wishes, okay, they had to be selfish and not for anyone else. So no, world peace, world hunger, blah 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 blah. No, they have to be selfish wishes just for you. What three wishes would you pick and why?
I actually used to have an extremely detailed answer for all of this, but I can only remember one of the three wishes. I guess because I only stuck to one because I wasn't being greedy. Three whole wishes, that's too much for me. I'll just stick to one. But the one wish I can tell you immediately off the top of my head because I've given it so much thought and consideration for reasons. Is I would love to not be able to grow hair from the neck down. Like just be completely, fully manscaped and completely baby blue hairless from the neck down.
Aerodynamic.
Basically, because I am a hairy gorilla man, and I would love to know what it would be like to not have any hair anywhere below the neck.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Have you ever waxed?
Yes.
Did it make you scream or is like, nah, it's fine?
It made me clench my teeth and suck air through them.
Mm.
But otherwise, it was a very frustrating and painful experience. Did you know that there's actually these types of acidic gels that they sell that actually melt your hair? Yeah, I tried that as well, and it works here and there. But ultimately, it is a constant battle because the moment you do anything in that regard, immediately it starts growing back with vengeance. And the worst thing is ingrown hairs, where it decides not to go through the hole. It decides to start growing inside of your skin, and it's extremely frustrating to have to deal with that. And that is one of the biggest challenges I've had to encounter in terms of personal hygiene. So I would just love to just dump a wish onto the notion of just being completely beautifully baby blue clean shaven for the rest of my life from the neck down. Like, I like the concept of having hair and a beard, so I'll keep those, but neck down, nah.
You know what?
So
I can.
that'd be one of the wishes that I'd use. The other two, I guess now that I'm thinking of it off the top of my head, I guess getting rid of dandruff and psoriasis would be wish number two. So just basically perfect skin would be used for two wishes. No hair, perfect skin, and third wish, something financial, I guess. Like I would get a tiny I would be able to generate something minuscule and infinitesimal, so I wouldn't be able to flood the markets with it, but I would actually be able to use it as a small, stable source of income. So
Oh.
it's not enough to disrupt anything. I wouldn't want to wish, oh, just give me $1 million. Now, like I'd like something to be small but stable, so it doesn't raise any eyebrows or suspicions, but I'd be able to just have it and generate it, and something to that effect would be my thing.
You know what? I like that because like my immediate thought is like I'll just wish to be like deviously wealthy, you know. But you're like no, just something, you know, something nice and like maintainable.
Like for example, something that allows me to generate like $500 a month or like $1,000 a month, and it has absolutely no negative connotations for the rest of the world and absolutely no consequence whatsoever. It's just a passive thing that I can do. It's just something that I have.
A penny a second, you'd be very wealthy very quickly like that.
But then where would I keep all the pennies? My house would explode from all the pennies.
That's very much like the monkey paw.
I'd drown and be crushed by pennies.
Yeah, like 5 minutes have passed and you're like, oh god, oh no, I've made a terrible mistake, genie! But it's too late, you've already used your 3 wishes, the genie is gone.
The genie is free and you are trapped in a cage of your own making made out of pennies.
Your neighbors like wonder what's going on, but they hear the creaking and the groaning of like bricks. They open their window and just pennies run down the street. Small children are swept away in a sea of pennies.
Glass cracks and explodes as pennies flood the market and the street simultaneously.
Delightful.
Have you seen the Family Guy episode where he actually tries to jump into a pool full of money and he breaks all of his bones?
No, I have not.
I'd imagine that's what happens. You know not the Daffy Duck, but I forgot which one it was, but like the Scrooge McDuck one where he dives into a vault full of pennies and it's like swimming in water, but Family Guy does where he dives in and it's like a hard surface and he breaks all of his bones.
I have not seen that. I have not.
Culture.
That does segue nicely into my next question, though. If you broke a limb and I contacted your family to let them know, what would be their response and how would they assume that you'd done it?
They would absolutely go wild with worry to the point where they'd probably have potentially one of them would either go into shock or become depressed. And they really wouldn't care about the reason. They would only want for me to be absolutely safe and fine under any means or circumstances. Oh God, this is bringing some more beautiful flashbacks. Any limb preference? I mean, honestly, if I had to do away with a limb, it'd probably be a leg. So femur, tibia, any of those would be preferable. I do not want to risk any part of my hands and arms. I'm definitely an upper body maxing individual.
See, I'm a leg maxer personally. Gotta keep them big Chun-Li thighs, you know?
Well, to each their own. I definitely would have liked to be able to put some of my spec points into legs, but I just never got around to it. I can barely even... I can't do the splits. I can only go like halfway, and it's... I feel like my legs have coalesced into a mummified pose due to my lack of usage. But at the same time, it is what it is. The human body has a lot of things, and I can't focus on all of them. So I
Mm.
decided to do the man thing and get sick pecs instead.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. And as someone that used to be able to do the splits, you know what? Don't, because it was doing the splits that led to me to like tearing a hamstring, and that was very, very, very slow recovery, and has left me with lasting, probably lifelong problems in my leg. So don't do the splits.
Oh,
Yeah,
noted.
that gets a no thank you out of 10.
Well, I mean, speaking from the experience of somebody who tried to do, what was it? Was it push-ups or was it pull-ups? No, not pull-ups. Sit-ups.
Mhm.
Somebody who tried to do sit-ups so powerfully, so quickly, so without being prepared and having a body that wasn't acclimated to sit-ups at the time, managed to cause a stomach hernia. Yeah, very understandable that splits would do that.
Yes, so, you know, from that perspective, then basically be careful. Both of us have the experience of going plus ultraing and regretting. Be careful.
The human body, once again, simultaneously the strongest and weakest organism on this planet.
It's great until it's suddenly not. Alright, right. Speaking of being great and then suddenly not, if you had to be a sidekick to a villain, who would it be and why?
Doctor Doom, because I've recently been acquainted with the fact that certain versions of Doctor Doom have him riding a giant Doctor Doom-esque dinosaur. And I feel like if I could be a sidekick to somebody who, in multiple alternate dimensions, has conquered the world peacefully and has given everybody universal health care, I feel like he really stretches the definition of villain, but if I had to go for a villain, it would definitely be him.
Oh, that's fair.
He
It's like a
feels
villain,
the
but not.
Yeah, he feels like the most non-villainous villain the world has ever known. So,
Okay, so you'd be the sidekick to a villain that isn't.
I mean, his name is Doctor Doom, and he is the level of petty that is willing to destroy an entire universe that has achieved world peace because the person who achieved said world peace made a remark that he didn't particularly like. So, on the morality scale, Doctor Doom definitely hinges more towards villain, especially when you consider his earlier ambitions in the comics. But ultimately, again, it's a villain. If I had to pick a villain, that'd be the one.
No, that's fair. Do you have a
I
villain
can't think
name?
of a villain other than Doctor Doom that I actually respect, because the only other villains that I'm thinking of is Walter White, who is just an absolute egomaniac, and I would not trust a person like that with anything, let alone helping him with anything. And yeah, that's about all the other villains I can think of. I can't think of any that many villains. The juicing. The juicing. This is all the juice that can come out of me at this present time.
I cannot juice you any further. So I cannot say, like, would you have a villain name? Like, on the spot. Quick. What's your villain name? Go.
Dijkstramor.
Dijkstramor.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Reason. That's a fun name.
The reason is that's my middle name.
Ah. So would you just like swap your middle name and your first name around?
I don't know if you know my life story, but a saintly lawful good knight by the name of Bowenthius and a horrifying chaotic evil wizard by the name of Dijkstramor had a big ol' match, and they duked it out, and from their battle resulted a fusion that is me. And I just took the name of the first guy because Bodhi didn't work out quite well, as you well know. So I just decided to take the Bowenthius because Bodhi T meant Bowenthius Dijkstramor transformed, which is what I am. But people didn't take to that too well, so I just decided to go by Bowenthius instead. So
That's fine.
I technically do have a villain name.
Rub a dead man's name. It's all good.
I mean, yeah, the two dead men that were fused into me.
Yes.
A walking corpse.
2 heads are better than 1. Steal them both.
I have 1 head. I don't even have 1 head. I fashioned this head out of the wizard's staff.
Yes, but originally there was 2 heads, and they were fighting.
Yes.
Oh,
And then
sorry.
there were none.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm just going to go cough a lung out.
Yes, I am genetically half a villain. I try not to be.
Yeah, we all try not to be villains, except for the people that are villains.
Yes. It's about putting in the conscious effort and not doing things because, oh, I'm justified in doing this really bad thing because this other person hurt me so very much. And the answer to that is no, it's never justified. No matter what they did to you, if they rip your arms off, beat you to death with it, still not justified if you manage to somehow survive that. Not even justified to shit in their mailbox.
What if they ask for that?
I mean, then that's not an evil thing. That's implying consent there. That becomes a different thing. That stops being a moral quandary and becomes an ethical quandary because fecal matter is quite disease-ridden most of the time.
That's true. I'm just like, if they consent to it, but it's still an evil act, are you still partaking in evil? Even though it is, consenting evil.
Now that is an excellent question. I mean, if it's a favor to a person, it's a... I mean, that would imply that artists, pornographic artists that partake in scat, who don't really like it all that much themselves, but do it because they get paid loads and loads and loads and loads of money due to various people who have that particular kink. Are they evil for doing that? It's just a job to them.
And then it comes down to like the quandary of like, if you have a potentially evil job, are you an evil person? It becomes like a whole multifaceted layering of,
It is definitely a very complex and multifaceted set of moral dilemmas. Still better than a trolley problem, though.
True. Yeah, you know what?
That's a math question disguised as a moral dilemma.
Math. When it's problematic. Yes. Always.
Disgusting math.
But that's going to take us into our next section of juicing. Now, would you rather? So, would you rather have a theme tune that plays every time you enter a room, or a laugh track that follows you around?
Definitely the theme tune. I already commissioned somebody to make me one, so I'm already halfway through the would you rather part of this.
But like every room you enter in real life, you enter a supermarket, boom, theme tune. You enter a toilet cubicle,
absolutely.
Boom, theme tune.
I mean, I basically have that happen whenever I get raided. So if I could have that noise play whenever I enter a room, I would love that.
Fair.
It's to be specific, the noise that I'm referring to is a orchestral remix of Linkin Park's "In the End" that has an actual chorus and a choir. So it's basically angelic singing to the tune of Linkin Park's "In the End." And if that happened every time I entered a room, I would be very happy.
That is fair. Would you then go in and out of a room to play it on repeat?
In the beginning, yes.
But then could you imagine, you get up in the middle of the night, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you go pee. As you go into the bathroom, your theme tune blares out, you wake up the house, and you're like, sorry, needed to urinate. As you come out the bathroom, you're entering the...
to everyone.
Yeah, it blares. Sorry, and you come out of the bathroom, and then, boom, your theme tune plays again. And they're like, dang it, Bo, stop pissing in the night,
If that makes it basically a pick your poison, because it's either have a noise play based on a specific trigger, which is entering and leaving a room, or have a constant laugh track. I feel like the constant laugh track would slowly make you go insane.
I think so, yeah.
I think you'd be able to at least deal with the theme song, because that way you could just get rid of all the doors. It would be inconvenient, but at least you wouldn't be able to disturb everybody living in the house, because technically going through a door means going through a different room. And the way my specific home is situated is that there is a tiny sort of a hallway that is so small that it is basically composed of 3 doors. So in order to go anywhere, I have to immediately go through 2 doors. So, and also this would be horrible for somebody who values stealth in any capacity.
Yeah, you could not be stealthy. You could not be sneaky. It plays loud. It plays so like everyone
So,
in the vicinity will hear it.
I love how I was immediately thinking of, yeah, I'd probably just have it played 1% volume, but you immediately countered before I even had a chance to speak.
Yeah, no, you can't set the volume. Sorry, I should have specified that. It's 100% volume.
If I had to choose between those two, I would honestly pick the thing that I'd said already. The laugh track seems like it would be a slow but sure dive into insanity.
Yeah, no, that I can get behind that, especially since laugh tracks are just irritating. Tents don't count as rooms. You just have to just live in one room forever.
Basically, I mean, I already kind of do, but I still need to utilize doors. But did you know that they made laugh track? They use laugh tracks as a signal to tell the audience when to laugh. It feels very dystopian when seen from that perspective.
Yeah, it's funny when we tell you it's funny. Gosh darn it.
Basically, yeah, like all the it's trying to take advantage of the not the bystander but the crowd effect, where if a lot of people are doing the same thing, you're gonna feel like you want to jive in. So early television took advantage of that psychological phenomenon 100%. So they play a laugh track of multiple people laughing. This is now when you need to laugh. Laugh. This is not funny, but laugh.
Laugh, darn it.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
People in all those laugh tracks are now dead. You're listening to the laughter of deceased people. Yeah,
That's like hauntingly morbid.
yeah. There's another horrible fun fact for you that I know off the top of my head. Besides, honeybees have hair on their eyes. There you go.
Lovely. Okay, would you rather have feet for hands or hands for feet?
Hands for feet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Same. Like,
Yeah, because that's basically what feet already are. They've just been malformed due to evolution to fit more of the purpose that they have. But ultimately, that is what feet started out as we see in primates and monkey.
yep. Like, if you have particularly try that again. If you have particularly long toes as well, I guess it's not like too much of a deviation.
And you can hide that shit with shoes.
Yeah.
Not very well, but you still could.
Yeah, you have like massive. Well, you have to curl your toe fingers up, and then you have to walk on a like. I think that'd be uncomfy. You just have to have really long shoes.
It would be a problem and would be uncomfortable, and there's no way you could hide it 100%. But at the same time, I feel like it is definitely the lesser of having feet for hands. Like I said previously with the breaking your bones thing, I cannot live a life where my hands are damaged in any way, shape, or form. So anything to preserve the hands is what I will choose. My hands and my eyes, those are my most vital areas.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Plus, if you have like hands on your feet, I already can pick things up with my feet, which I discovered is apparently weird. But it means you got extra sets of things to pick stuff up with. It's convenient.
More utility that way.
Yeah. You're like a multifunctional tool. You just like, but that's a bit out of reach where you're sitting. Just like, stretch your leg out, boom, got it.
Next thing you need is a bionic tail so you can grab onto branches.
That would be so convenient. Okay, all right, there you go. Would you rather have spaghetti for hair? Well, I know what you're going to go with this one because what I've written down is meatballs for fingers, but you said you don't want to change your hands. So let's go like spaghettis for hair or meatballs for feet. For toes, sorry. Spaghetti for hair or meatballs for toes?
I kind of already have meatballs for toes. The reason why I say this is because I don't know how it happened, but over the course of the many walks that I took with these 2 feet that I have, I developed fungal infections that had to be cleared out by literally melting off the skin and dealing with the thing that was embedded in that skin. So my toes have a lot of crater-like protrusions on them because the skin didn't really quite heal to the point where you can't see it anymore. So they basically kind of look like meatballs already. skin-colored meatballs, but spaghetti for hair, nah, I love my hair too much. Nah.
Mm.
I either bald or hair. I cannot go with the spaghetti. And also the meatball, again, you can hide it with shoes.
That is true. That is true.
See now that's a interesting hypothetical. Would you have all of the skin on your hair on your body replaced with spaghetti? See, now that's actually something I would consider because you could just. I feel like spaghetti would be much easier to manscape than hair because it's a lot thicker.
Would you eat it?
No.
No, but it's like free snack.
Maybe I would be curious to try it out once
But what if it
and
was
say that I did
delicious?
it once, but otherwise I feel like I would be. It's like, would you eat your own hair
No.
as a meal? Would you actually, like, you have very long hair? Would you take a tuft of it that's enough to fit a meal, cook it, and eat that? Would you do that?
I mean, if it was spaghetti, I do love pasta. I feel like if I had spaghetti for hair, I would be bored very quickly.
Spaghetti has a lot of sway with you, huh?
I like pasta.
Noted for future reference.
Honestly, I'm very easy to please. Literally just feed me, and if it's pasta, done.
Heard it here first, folks.
Would I serve my hair spaghetti to others? No, that's a step too far. I don't believe in, like, making other people non-consensually eat your body parts. That's a step into, like, consent is sexy, So
They actually have a Rick and Morty episode about this exact premise where if people commit suicide, their organs become very, very delicious spaghetti bolognese. So they had an entire planet that made it into produce, and the entire world became addicted to spaghetti.
Oh dear.
It was horrifying.
Yeah, I was. You know what? I'll move on from spaghetti at that point. I was like hands for tongue and imagine the French kissing. I hate that. I hate it so much. Don't do that. No hands for tongue, please. Or tongue for hands. No.
I don't think I'd be able to survive with tongue fingers.
No, that would be. Oh, if you could taste everything through your fingies everywhere you go. You could never put your hands on anything because people are disgusting. Like, don't touch anything outside if you've got tongue tasting fingers because you're gonna taste a whole bunch of stuff that you don't want to taste.
I would permanently be wearing multiple layers of gloves, the foremost layer being slathered in something delicious. So I would constantly have the sensation of my tongue fingers be numbed by something good, and then I just have gloves so they'd be regular fingers again, hopefully. But then again, how could you live with such a thing? I don't think you can.
No, that's fair. I'd have to, like, puree strawberries and shove them in gloves and then put my tongue fingers into the gloves so that I don't touch any.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I'll just always taste delightful strawberry puree whenever I go outside, rather than revolting humanness.
Existence.
Yes, revolting.
Revolting.
Giving back to
I feel like we've definitely gotten a lot of juice because now we're putting the juice in gloves and tasting it with our tongue fingers.
No, I have almost completed my juicing. No, well, I'm at least like over 50% of the way through juicing, So, going back to the spaghetti, would you rather have to eat spaghetti with a spoon or soup with a fork for the rest of your life?
You are a cruel mistress. Your evil knows no bounds. Well, see, the thing is, this is again a multifaceted, interdimensional question. Because I love spaghetti, but I do not care much for soup because, again, soup unfortunately does this thing where it has multiple different solidities because on one hand, you have the liquid of the water in the soup combined with, for example, meatballs or chicken, which are solids. So it is constantly intertwining between different forms of solid and liquid, which absolutely sends my ARFID into overdrive and projectile vomit everywhere. So I think I would actually pick eating soup with a fork for the rest of my life, because then I just never eat soup.
That's fair.
Because I don't eat soup anyway. And the only type of soup that I've ever liked is basically the pseudo porridge that I would dip toast into, and that is actually doable with a fork. So yeah, that'd be my answer.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Then after, would you rather sneeze or burp confetti?
Burp, because burping is something I cannot do naturally, and it's something that I need to force myself in order to do, because there is a muscle in your throat that is basically a flap that opens and closes, which allows you to burp. And it is something that, for one reason or another, for me specifically, is numb and immobile. So in order to burp, I have to expel all of the air out of my lungs in order to force the oxygen out of my stomach. So it is something that I do very, very rarely. So if confetti shits out of there as well, then so be it.
Would you not feel like you'd probably need to burp more often if it was a confetti cannon?
I mean, I think it would actually become a superpower at that point, and or a neat party trick, because then I could do it on command, and people would be astounded by my confetti internals. I'd probably be a lovely thing for doctors to dissect at that point.
Well,
how does it work? Where does the confetti come out? How does he generate it? Does he have a confetti organ? Yeah, and I could actually start selling confetti.
But, like, consider then alternatively. Like, one of your friends is like, hey, I can burp confetti. And you're like, really? Show me. And then they burp confetti, but it's wet. Is that... Do you want wet confetti from someone's innards on you?
I mean, it's better than having wet confetti via sneezing, because then sneezing is a lot more involuntary and happens at interval. The thing is, I never sneeze once. I always sneeze multiple times. So for me, it would be multiple bouts of confetti. So with burping, at least, I sort of have a lot more control over it. And if we're talking about selling confetti on the black market, I could always dry it out.
That's true. I don't know. I feel like if I was going to burp confetti, I'd probably throw up with it. Like, because something's coming out, right? So my body would be like, oh, you're being sick. So it'd be like confetti and then just like, it would be, burping confetti would be disgusting.
Have you ever had, the phenomenon in American media where they laugh so hard or something happens where they shoot milk out of their nostrils?
I personally have never had that, but I did once make my sister laugh so hard while she was eating noodles that one came out of her nose.
I've managed, I don't remember the circumstances, but I've managed to laugh so hard that potatoes came out of my nose.
Oh no.
And I can tell you from personal experience, that's not great. So I feel like with confetti, it would probably be as bad.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. And in cold and flu season, you just be like, please let it end.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, as someone that has pain with sinuses, actually, sneezing might be the worst. But then I hate vomiting. I guess if I just never drank fizzy drinks, I probably wouldn't actually, like, burp very much, because it's only if I ever drink fizzy stuff.
The thing is that we need to consider where the logistics happen. Like, does the burp come from your stomach? Does it start at your throat? Does it just does it come out of your mouth immediately? Does it expel alongside the oxygen alongside the burp? Where is the threshold? How big is the confetti? How small is it? There's a lot of tiny little details that determine whether or not it feels like the sensation of vomiting or it feels like the sensation of a regular burp. There's a lot of tiny nuance and rules to this sort of phenomenon, but I'd still, if I was a betting boy, and Lord knows I'm not, I definitely still vouch for burping, because I've experienced what it's like to have solid material go through my nostrils. Not a good time.
No, that, you know what?
I feel like the throat is a bigger hole.
Yeah, because I was imagining confetti like little bits of ribbon, so that it'd be like if you're sneezing it out, it's like massive ribbon snot trails. So yeah, yeah. Know what? You're probably onto something there with burping it. Yeah, I don't particularly I don't I don't particularly want either of them. Genuinely, but I'll go with burp.
If I had to pick a sin, it would be burp.
Yeah, exactly. I will pick that because I don't burp very often. I can burp on command, but I don't. I definitely wouldn't if confetti came out when I did. Confetti and then
The way I
vomit
burp on
confetti.
command is definitely not traditionally how people do it. I don't know how people do it. I just know I have my method that I've developed as a form of dealing with stress. Because when I was very anxious and a lot less sure of myself and stable as a human being, I used to subconsciously inhale oxygen through my mouth, which would get stuck in my stomach, which would basically make me feel bloated. And I needed to develop a method to expel that air, and I found it through the form of expelling all of the air out of my lungs to induce burpage.
That sounds painful,
Because again,
honestly.
my burp muscles are flaccid and numb and dead.
And it sounds like you're an accordion. Like we stretch you out and then we
Yes.
just that's obviously an accordion sound there, and we just like and squeeze it all out of you.
I mean, if you punch me in the stomach, I'd probably exhale a lot of air and be like, "Ugh!"
I think most people probably would. I'm not going to go around punching people in the stomach though. That's kind of mean. Would you rather free fuel or gas for the rest of your life, or free plane flights for the rest of your life? Krim has asked.
Probably plane flights.
Yeah, same.
Actually, 100% plane flights because I do not own a car, and I would have. The only way I would pick fuel is if I could then leverage it as a source of income.
You could make up your own gas station, and you're just there.
Basically, yeah. If I could generate gas, then that's a completely different question. I would just use it as a source of income to generate money. But if I were talking about the convenience of transportation, I would definitely go for the plane because the plane is a thing that I actually use as a form of transportation.
I would pick plane because planes are hecka expensive. Like,
Hell yeah.
like it's so pricey to go from anywhere. So I would pick a plane. Also, because I have an electric car, technically I don't need gas. So planes.
You need electricity.
Yes. And I have one final. Would you rather for you? Would you rather always have one damp sock or have a permanent wedgie?
Depending on the underwear I wear, I kind of do have that wedgie thing going on. So it's not something I'm not familiar with. It's just the poor underwear can be quite taxing on the groin. Permanent damp sock, hey. Yeah, I'd have to go with the wedgie. The reason, my logic being is that a damp sock would probably have, it would probably gather moss. It would start generating moss. It could potentially lead to disease, infection, a common cold. I feel like it is a lot more of a risk to have a permanently damp sock on you at all times for the rest of your life, rather than just being discomforted by a wedgie.
See, I find like wedgies are incredibly uncomfortable. Like I go for a lot of walks, and if I get a wedgie, it's like that's all I can think about. I'm like, oh no, my pants are up my bum. My pants are up my bum. So I don't know. I think, although I'm someone that loves socks, I actually think I'd probably pick the damp sock and then just not wear socks again. Because I couldn't sacrifice wearing underwear. I would feel too naked, like with no pants. So.
You're going the soup with a fork route. Just never partake in the socks ever again.
Yeah, that would sadden me greatly because I am a big lover of the sock, but
yes,
I'm more of a lover of not having uncomfortable nether regions. So
that is very fair. The thing I actually thought about during this is that some people genuinely do that to themselves. The wedgie thing. I mean, it's probably a kink in some circles, I would imagine.
I mean, there's like,
There's definitely people who would like that.
yeah, that's not for me personally. There's the underwear, like G-strings and thongs or whatever, which is purposely up your crack. When I was a
Those.
younger moose, they're deemed as sexy. These days I'm too old for that. Yeah, just give me some comfy pants, all right? I'll take comfy,
the
please.
plastic pantaloons that do not go up the rear and instead encase your rear quite comfortably.
Exactly. I would prefer it if I'm not being like cheese grated up the butt crack. Cheese wired
But
even.
what if appear sexy to all those people that won't be able to see? You know you're sexy, isn't that not worth?
Exactly. And here's the thing, right? With Mr. Moose, if he wants to see my bum, god damn it, I'll just show him my bum. He doesn't need to see like up the bum pants. That's fine.
It's not an issue for you because you already have a significant other and you don't need to put out for people. If you want to be sexy for somebody, you'll do it because he's seen all of you already, so.
But here's the thing, though. I don't want to be sexy for anyone. I'm just me. So...
Yes. Well, hypothetically, in this alien scenario, where you'd be motivated to be, you'd probably do it for him.
Yeah, no. If he was like, "Hey, do you want to wear this?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." But like, I wouldn't actively pick that to go out,
Oh yeah, I'm talking about for the people in your life. I'm not talking about for public.
Yeah, no, not for public. Gross.
Ugh,
I don't even go
public.
outside.
Horrifying public. You were forced to go outside on a number of occasions due to London, but other than that,
yeah, definitely wouldn't want to be sexy going around London. Like the train is long and hot and tiring, and the station is long and hot and tiring, and it's stinky. And no, I don't want to be walking around London with a big old wedgie. So definitely, I'm picking the damp sock and just going sockless.
I suppose based on the information we've inferred, a thong feels like a constant wedgie.
Can do.
And now you know this is what you're doing to your women if you want them to be sexy.
Yes. Although some people find them comfy. Back in the day, these days I'm too old for this now. I mean, like there's thongs for people of male genitalia as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I should imagine that exactly the same situation where they're up the bummy.
I've never worn one, but I know they exist.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so it's probably the same deal. Are they sexy? I don't really know. I'm just like... Now we're going to we've deviated somewhat here. Oh, thongs sexy.
Unfortunately, I have tried many on occasion, but I do not get the sexual attraction or gratification from the male guys. So unfortunately, I cannot comment on that. I just see a dude with a giant bulge, like, ooh, okay, cool, dude.
Yeah, good for you.
I can tell you that on a woman, which is the thing that I'm attracted to sexually, I find it good, depending on the certain shape, but
That's
probably not comfortable.
Yeah, is that not just like people's in general with the derrieres? I'm sure, like, regardless of the pattern of the underwear, would still be pleasing to the. I don't know. I don't look at butts.
The internet.
The internet, if the Avenue Q song is to be believed, it is for porn.
It very much is. Vast majority of it anyway, but we have moved society onto the internet where we have had a beautiful free-for-all for the past 10 years or so.
That is true. Right. How would you get through these scenarios? So you have to live as an animal for a week, doing all the animal things that animal does. Which animal do you pick? It cannot be a mythical one. It must be a real animal.
Bear hibernate for the entire time.
What a cop-out. I love it.
Pros, bear, get to hibernate. Cons, if cannot hibernate, then bear, kill everything.
But then you've got that murder on your hands. Once you revert back to being a human and your base animal instincts of murder, you will remember everything you did. Everything.
What are they gonna say? We have to convict you for all those murders you did as a bear.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm an osteomancer. I'm not a bear. What are you talking about? I didn't do all those crimes. I'm a humanoid creature. What? That bear has what? This is unbearable, good sir.
You can blatantly see on the CCTV footage that it was in fact a bear that did that, and not at all me.
Exactly. I cannot even bear to look at you with such accusations. Imagine the pun potential as well.
Bowenthius.
That would be my persona, yes.
Would you be a bear that
Follow-up
can control
question
boats?
that you didn't ask. If I ever had a persona, it would be a bear, and it's Bowenthius. There you go.
Now we know. Now we know.
No.
Would you be approachable or not?
Depending, am I hibernating?
No, not hibernating.
And I would not be approachable.
Fair enough. All right. So let's say, for example, then you've now inherited a haunted house. It's so badly haunted, the locals and the not so locals all know about it. You can't sell it. That's impossible because it's like everybody knows that's the haunted Bowenthius house. What do you do with it?
Can I take the property and put it in my hole?
Put it in your what?
In my giant, amorphous, infinite pit.
No, it must stay where it is.
That. Can I do the breakdown and tear it down?
No, it must stand.
Turn it into a gas station to sell my gas from the previous pump?
Nope. Well, actually, I guess yes. You could add yourself a gas station on the side, but nobody would want to come because it's the haunted gas station.
Can I renovate it into a Freddy Fazbear's attraction and say because it's genuinely haunted that it's a great spook for the kids?
Yes, that's allowed.
I would either do that or remodel it to be My Little Pony themed so it would counteract. You can't have something be that cute and haunted, can you?
The ghosts won't like that. They will definitely tear that down.
Exactly. So I would either go full ham on the horror and make it Freddy Fazbear themed, or I would try to counter the horror by making it My Little Pony themed. Or Dora the Explorer.
Combine it all. Different rooms with different themes. This
Applejack versus Foxy room.
Yeah, the walls are bleeding, there's ponies everywhere, there's kids crying. What a fun day out.
There's animatronics running amok.
Yeah,
I would pay for admission.
Monetize everything.
Did you know that there's actually I scarcely call it a service, but there is a type of horror-esque attraction that makes you sign a 20-plus page legal waiver where they basically are allowed to do anything to you, and I do mean anything, essentially enslave you in the guise of a quote-unquote haunted house attraction.
Yes, I've heard of that.
They basically beat the shit out of you and spit in your face, but they do it legally because you've signed a funny document.
Because you pay for the pleasure. They also, they're allowed to even bury you alive and stuff?
Yeah, they do that as well. It's a horrible, horrible practice, and I don't know what the story is so far. I hope they got arrested over it, because it's basically bullies bullying people under the guise of a business. But the point is that if those guys could operate within the strict definitions of legality, I'm sure that my funny, actually genuinely haunted ride would probably be legal.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you'd probably have to get the ghost's consent first. You'd need them to sign something, and also, pay them somehow. I mean, they're ghosts, they're dead. I don't know how you're going to pay them, ghost money or something. But you'd need to have, some contractually, legally binding thing so that your haunted house does not come back and sue you for exploiting these unbelievable beings. that reside in your presence.
The mortally challenged.
Yes.
I love how the premise here is that I'm inheriting something and I become the owner of something that I'm not really the owner of because it already has occupants that I cannot vacate. I'm basically inheriting a crack den.
Yes, cracked skull den.
I actually have to be considerate of all of my crack ghosts, and I have to listen to them because otherwise they're gonna cause a ruckus for me, even though I'm the owner technically and should be able to evict them, but they're ghosts.
Yeah, they won't fly with that.
Exorcism.
Exorcism.
Yeah, get me a preacher to exorcise them.
You're not allowed to do that. They have to stay.
We're basically inventing a phasmophobia scenario.
You're not allowed to exorcise them. Yeah, you have phasmophobia. People come in and be like, "Yep, you've got ghosts. Bye." There's a dead body in your basement, and I've left like thousands of dollars worth of equipment just scattered around everywhere. But yeah, you've got a ghost. See you later.
I've become an eBay salesman secondhand.
Yeah, what'd you do? Like sell ectoplasm? Like, excuse me,
I sell
excuse
all
me.
of the equipment of the Phasmo crew.
Yeah, you're like, if you could just kindly make this wall a bit drippy, I'm just gonna get a jar of it, sell it on eBay. Thank you very much. It's like the equivalent of selling like a gamer girl bathwater, but it's actually haunted house woo goop. I reckon you could make a killing. Like
technically speaking, there have been multiple real-life listings on eBay for quote-unquote haunted items that basically have a very convincing story about how people who share a room and sleep in the same room as this haunted item cannot sleep and suffer nightmares and yada yada, and they make for a killer bidding on eBay. So imagine the killing I'd be able to make by selling this mansion plank by plank as individual haunted eBay listings. Haunted plank number 432. It came out of the haunted mansion. Here I have selfies with the ghosts to corroborate.
But you're not allowed to sell the mansion, so you could sell like something that is generated by the mansion, but you wouldn't be able to sell the haunted mansion itself.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. We get into the ship of Theseus territory. If I sell the mansion plank by plank individually, is that technically selling the mansion or selling bits of it? Somebody could reassemble it elsewhere. Is it the same mansion? Who knows? Pedantics.
I would say yes. If I was to cut off a finger, just because, and sell it to people, and then cut off the rest of my fingers and sell it to people, and then they put those fingers... That's still my hand. That's still my fingers. So I would say that yes, if I was to rip down a part of a brick of the house and sell it elsewhere, I'm still selling the house.
Ectoplasm, you say?
Yes. Like ghost goop.
Well, when you got given the lemonades, you gotta get the lemons. Something like that. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah, all you need to do is have like, you could have like a ghost live stream, and you're like, okay, house, time to goop the walls, and people just tune in and watch the ghost just go and goop down your walls, and then you sell the goop.
That actually brings up an excellent premise, because basically, because you have a real haunted house, you could do everything that all the fake people trying to monetize fake haunted events. So you could become a haunted house YouTube channel. You can sell the ectoplasm.
Yeah.
Sorry, the auto mod message perplexed me for a second there.
Oh my gosh, yes. Beautiful.
I'll let you decide what to do with that one. I'm a guest.
I you know what? It's fine. We'll just leave it.
Right. It's there.
Our ghost immune to arson. The house is immune to arson. You're not allowed to burn it down.
So honestly, yeah, like you'd basically be able to do the what if you call Thanos at 3 a.m. What will happen at your house? And all those videos, but they'd actually be real because you have a genuine haunted house. So you could monetize you'd basically be able to scare all the ghosts away by monetizing them, basically making a Big Brother force show where you're constantly filming all of the ghouls and goblins in the house. So if the horrible breach of privacy in the afterlife is not enough to make them leave, then I don't know what is.
You might be into it though. As you said, you got to get them to sign a contract first. So as long as they
Yeah,
sign the
well,
contract and they get some kind of kickback from it, I'm not entirely sure what kind of kickback a ghost could get, like extra ghost snacks, extra.
I mean, ghosts are individuals. We can do an episode on the specific ghost, like we could in a. It'd be a whole series. We could discover each ghost's their stories, what they're about. It would be amazing. And if they are fine with that, then I just make bank.
You know what? I reckon
This is
they'd be
going to
fine
be
with
a
that.
very elaborate entertainment series.
Yeah, you know what? And that you pay them in letting them possess someone. You know, you ask for people that wish to be possessed by one of your ghosts for the show. You invite them on. You let the ghost possess them so they can talk for them. So you can have interview with a ghost, and then the ghost can just consume the body or soul or whatever it is that ghosts do, and then you have a new ghost for your house collection. That's how that works, right?
Basically, yeah. The Ghost Factory is what it would be called.
Yeah. Eventually, your house will be very, very full and very, very noisy, but you know, potatoes, potatoes.
Ultimately, it is what it is. But I feel like at some point during the great YouTube channel's history, the government would take notice, and because that's the thing that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. It's a real phenomenon, so I feel like actual institutions would get involved. I don't know if a real life equivalent of the SCP Foundation exists, but I feel like they would take notice and try to evict me of my own house, even if the rules state that I cannot sell the house. Or get rid of the ghosts. I feel like because there's value in a genuine ghost house. So I feel like there'd be people trying to take it from me, so I'd have to fight for the ghost house that I don't even want.
But that's okay, because the ghosts would fight for it as well. They want you there. You're making them bank too. Like their coffers in the
Bowenthius
afterlife
Ghost
are
War.
yeah, they're delightful. They're actually being listened to. You know, they're loving it. They don't want your house to be taken away by the big corpos.
This feels like a whole Netflix miniseries in the making. We could definitely make a show out of this. Some guy inherits a haunted house and it's genuinely haunted, but he learns to make peace with the ghosts and they become his friends, but then the government tries to take his house, but now he has to fight for the haunted house and ghost rights and all that. Sounds like a great series in the making.
Well, there we go. Netflix, hit us up.
Netflix, steal our idea and then cancel it after season 2.
Don't steal our idea. Pay for us for it first. It's fine.
Yes, give us loads of money for our idea so we don't sue you for theft.
Wait, is that the plot of Beetlejuice? Oh yeah, it might actually be the plot of Beetlejuice, actually.
Oh.
we just
I haven't
rewrote
seen
Beetlejuice.
so this is original to me.
Yeah, we possibly just regenerated the movie that we established earlier that you'd not seen. So that's fine. It's Netflix original. There's no like deranged ghost with green hair, so it's fine.
And it has a very catchy name, Juice the Moose, like Beetlejuice, but not.
There's a series called Ghost is always identical to this. Oh man, look at us just reinventing the wheel. I didn't even know.
Well, I mean, it's basically the first thing that came to my mind, so probably already exists in the world.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That's fine. We're just every idea is recycled, really. So we've just made a new version for the next generation. You know what? My sentiment stands. Netflix, hit us up.
We're making the new Beetlejuice for a modern skibbity gyat riz generation.
Moist. All right, I've got a next question for you. Just gonna bench that one there. Your pet suddenly learns how to send text messages, but only can send them with mildly threatening orders, like "I'm watching you," "I want to chew your leg." How do you deal with this?
The same way I deal whenever my pet does anything I don't like. I aggressively do pets and scrunch its face and hope for the best.
So if your dog sends you a message that says I'm watching you, to begin with, you don't know it's your dog sending you these messages, right? You're in bed and you just get a message that says, "Bing, I'm watching you." So you don't know initially that it is in fact your dog. Just, I'm
I
watching you.
would assume it's spam and block it, and that ends the premise.
And then your poor doggy is there, like, trying to text you, like, human, human, human.
I mean, if I ever see the dog with the phone, I'd probably be concerned. But the thing is that you're talking to the person that accidentally blocked their own printer on their own network and didn't realize it until months after the fact. Why is my printer not working? It's not printing stuff. Oh.
How did
it
you
would
not
take me
notice?
a very long time to figure out that my dog is sending me text messages through something. The thing about spam is that you block it and you immediately forget. So I would never in a million years corroborate the idea that that is my dog sending me messages.
So you would never get it. You'd be like, huh, creepy.
Yeah, I think in the context of it being a message on Twitch would be more because yeah, if somebody is saying I'm watching you on stream, that's good. You're supporting the stream. So that would be a reason for me not to instantly block them. And then I would it would definitely allow for an actual idea and conversation to take place, for sort of like a repertoire where this individual develops as, oh, that's the weirdly threatening but still positive and supportive guy in my streams. And then over the course, I learned that that is actually my dog. But if it was a phone, the problem with phones is that they're so horribly filled to the brim with scam and spam and all of that stuff. So you wouldn't ever think it was your dog. But if it was a Twitch viewer, I think that's when the premise would actually kick off.
Okay, so you're on Twitch, and it starts off like, I'm watching you. I like, I like warming up your feet. Let me out. I need to pee. I want to lick your face. What level of deranged message that you get from them? And you're like, you know what? This is too creepy. Goodbye.
Yeah, at the I want to lick your face aspect, I would probably call it, you know what, that's outside of my boundaries, so please, goodbye. And I'd ban permanently.
Yeah.
But the thing is that my dog personally has never actually licked my face. So that would be weird even for the dog.
I suppose. What about, one of the, the number one things that male dogs like to do? Like, I'm licking my testicles, Please don't take that out of context, because that was talking about a dog. So, you just get a message that just says that. Weirdly threatening message.
What, I'm licking my testicles?
Is that not weirdly threatening? I feel like if I received that message...
The message has been clipped.
No!
We've now clipped this beautiful voice. I mean, it is a podcast, so clip it as much as you need to. I wouldn't say that'd be threatening. I think it would be weird and bordering on sexual harassment.
Is that not threatening? I would definitely feel threatened or like disgusted, or I don't know. I would definitely feel something if I received that message.
I don't know about threatened, but definitely disgusted and weirded out. So I would block appropriately.
It's like, okay, that's a step too far. That's enough internet for today. Goodbye.
Definitely, yes.
If you died
in here, I would eat you.
It's like, eat you with love.
I feel like that would be a behavior definitely seen in cats, but I honestly don't know if that's something that is, like, my dog specifically is a very, like, the most innocent dog you've ever encountered in your life. That's the size of a small pickup truck, but at the same time so friendly and innocent and carefree that all she wants is to love you. And I can never imagine her in a million years would actually, even if she's on the brink of death from starvation, I still don't think she'd actually try to eat me. I have that much faith and trust in my own dog.
No, that's sweet. I love that. Okay, so basically what you're saying is, like, dog would never get to the point of, like, creepy messages. You would just, like, block
I think...
or stop engaging.
The way my dog would take advantage is my dog would spam me because my dog requires vast amounts of attention all the time. So I would basically get spam messages of "Hey, hey, 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 what are you doing? How you doing? What are you doing? Hey, what's that? And basically that times 50 million. So that's how I'd imagine would happen. What I would imagine would happen if my dog had access to texting.
Okay, fair. So she wouldn't give you threatening messages, just like excessively, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, sort of deals.
Feed me your eyeball. It'd basically be like the I forgot the word, but somebody who would be very, very attention starved to the point where they would just spam so many messages just to get a reaction out of you. Reactionary.
This is very needy.
Yes.
You just like, you get a message like, rub my head, rub my head, rub my head, rub my head.
Yes.
Now rub my belly.
Open the door, close the door, open the door, close the door. I want to go outside. I want back in. Want outside again.
I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry.
Feed me water.
That would be me if I was a dog. I'd just like, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry.
Raggy. See, that's the thing I love about female dogs. They don't ask you the question, Raggy, where are my tacos? They don't have any to begin with.
Wait.
Very convenient.
Very well. Okay, if a secret government experiment gave you superpowers, but they're useless, what are the top 3 most useless superpowers you could have? And how exactly would you discover that you could or could not do the thing that the superpower gives you? So you get 3 completely useless superpowers. What are they?
The first thing that I'm immediately thinking off the top of my head is my fingernails would grow at an abnormally quicker than usual rate.
Are we talking like a centimeter a minute, or are we talking like, just an extra millimeter every 2 days?
Like, you know how it takes about a week on average, or at least in my experience, for fingernails to grow from cut to long-ish?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of taking a week, it would take half as much time.
Okay.
So, in half a week, I'd have somewhat long fingernails, but like somewhat.
Okay. And you realize this by like, I'm having to cut my nails a lot quicker now. It must be that thing that suspicious government official injected into me in the elevator.
Yes, that would be a thing. Let's think of the other 2. Well, I was thinking of the superpower of being able to memorize and be able to differentiate smells a lot, like like having a lot more smell clarity, but that actually sounds like it would have a purpose and a use, so scratch that.
Yeah, that would be useful for like perfumers and stuff like that. You'd be able to pick all the smells out. So that's too useful.
Being able to do the splits without tearing a hamstring.
That's, what? Fair.
That's basically a party trick / bragging rights, but ultimately not very useful.
True. All right, fair. And you just wake up one day, what did you do, fall over and be like, oh, I'm in the splits and I didn't break a leg.
Yeah. Oh, I'm doing the splits and I'm not actually dying right now. It doesn't feel like I'm actually tearing apart my crotch. So that'd be neat. And I'd be like, neat. And then I'd probably do it once or twice more just to confirm. I'm like, and then I'd probably never do it again. And they'd go back to, what's the word? Not calcifying, but wasting away. And number 3, any sticky note that I place would not lose its stickiness.
That's convenient. Never losing a sticky note because it's there forever.
The counter to that would be just have good sticky notes because they exist.
That is true. But the fun ones are never that sticky. Like the ones that are like little cat paws and stuff. I could stick one of them to my monitor and it'd be on the floor by like within an hour.
Yeah, it's basically an aesthetic thing where you could buy cheaper pairs of sticky notes that you know won't stick, but because of your incredible superpower, you know that they'd actually be a good product. It's basically giving you a slight discount on sticky notes.
That you know what? I feel like if you were a government official and that's why they were thinking on you, and you had to buy your own sticky notes, that's probably like that's a useful one for sticky note purchasing. They're testing this for their financial buyer team, so that they can get them to do the best purchasing of sticky notes. You were patient zero to test this ability.
In that case, let me think of an alternative. If,
Oh.
if the ability to stick sticky notes for extended periods of time is too appealing to you, this is too great of a power. We cannot let this come into the command of mortal men. Imagine sticky notes that actually do their job. This is too much power. Society of sticky notes were attached properly, and it's a picture of a super futuristic city.
All because of the sticky note.
Another power that I was thinking of, when you drop your phone, it never cracks the screen, but that is also, one would probably consider that to be a good utility. I've personally never, I've only cracked the screen one time, and it's because I fell off a bike and the phone came crashing down into the pavement, and I had to get a new phone because it wasn't just the screen that was broken, half of the phone was chipped away.
Oh wow, you really broke it.
Oh, I landed on it. I used the phone as a cushion to break my fall.
It sounds like a not that comfortable cushion, if I'm honest.
No, but it served better than me falling on the pavement directly, at least.
I suppose. I hope your derriere was rescued by the phone, even if your phone said goodbye.
I discovered a superpower. Two of them, actually. Curl your toes. And I don't know if you've seen, but there's some people that have very unusually flexible fingers that allow them to bend their fingers in multiple directions. Like they go in a 90-degree angle on one bend, and another 90-degree angle on another bend, and another 90-degree angle afterwards in opposite directions. And it basically looks like their fingers are spider appendages.
Disgusting. I hate that.
Yes. Yes, there you go. That's the third superpower.
What a delightful superpower to find, that you can just like dislocate your fingers and go.
You can bend your fingers a lot more flexibly than the average person.
Lovely. So your eyes can see 1% further to the left. That would be such. Well, actually, as someone that doesn't have the best vision, that might be useful. I don't think I'd even notice.
The most things you can think of. Moose can take advantage of them.
I have so many debuffs, I can take advantage of even the most tiniest of advantages.
Be able to see slightly better? I'm there. Sticky notes are stickier. Sign me up.
All right. How about then, if you curse or improve? You know what? Curse or improve. I'll let you decide whether you want to curse them or not. This power, flight. So you can fly, or you can fly and. Or if you're feeling spicy, do both.
I can fly and, or I can fly but.
Yes.
Is it a big bot?
It can be.
A splendid posterior?
The most magnificent of derrieres.
I've had many dreams in my lifetime where I fly. Quite a fun feeling. What would be a good negative to flight? I mean, flight itself carries a very wide myriad of risks. The sky isn't exactly bereft of traffic. You could possibly become sashimi by hitting a plane engine.
Don't fly that high.
Become a phenomenon. It'd become a phenomenon, and people suss you out, and you get. It always goes back to the government picks you up to dissect you to figure out how you can fly.
The government doesn't care. They're like, this is fine. You're part of the superhero indoctrination program. As long as you sign your
Oh, of
paperwork,
course.
you can have it.
Delightful.
I'd say, like, you can fly, but your clothes are too heavy, so you can't take them with you. So if you can fly, but you do have to be naked while you're flying.
The only thing that I can think of is flight, but the form of propulsion is farts.
So you just gotta eat a
You
lot of
can
beans.
fly, but with your farts.
Oh, watch out, it's fart man.
Basically, it's fartcopter. It's the flatulent flyer.
That's a delightful villain name. You're just walking down the street, you feel your tummy bubbling, you're like, oh, yes, I can fly. Oh, wait, I've got clothes I've got to strip off. And then you just like, just fly away nakedly. I think I won't bother.
I feel like at this point, through your juicing process, the most you've gotten out of me is a lot of air. And confetti and farts. You've squeezed all the air out of me in this podcast.
I have but 2 more things for you. So we were letting 2 more superpowers for you to curse or bless. Invisibility.
Sure.
You may bless or curse, or both.
Well, the fun part about invisibility is I immediately think of the My Hero Academia equivalent, where there was a superhero that was permanently invisible, and the problem is that she's permanently invisible at all times, always. So it probably doesn't like invisibility, but at the cost of it being something you cannot turn on. I feel like invisibility is very useful with the utility of you being able to turn it on and off. So I feel like it would be a very big curse for you to be invisible permanently forever. So that would be for my curse. But if I actually added a benefit to invisibility, I feel like a benefit would be to be able to not only turn it on and off, but actually turn it on and off in layers, so that you could make a killing as a biology teacher, where you could use your own body and turn off various layers, so you could have students actually see the various processes of a live body in real time. I think that'd be really neat.
That
For
would
an
be
educational thing.
very cool, but also very disgusting.
Oh yeah, the whole idea behind the fact that if you're invisible, that light passes through you, including your cornea. That's a stupid cop out, and that's the part about science that I don't like. That's basically ruining the fun of invisibility. So
We don't engage in science around these parts. We're invisible
every
flying
party
machines right
needs a
now.
pooper. That's why they brought you party pooper. Right.
Okay,
What was the other one?
the final superpower. Everything is edible. Like you walk past a rock, you walk past a fence, you walk past a human. Don't eat
Does that
humans.
imply that you just have the capacity to completely ingest and break it down and use it as a source of energy?
Yeah,
Like, for example, a rock. A rock would be incredibly hard and would basically break your teeth. But with this superpower, you have the ability to fully break it down and digest it through whatever means, be it teeth or acids or whatever, so you could convert it into energy successfully. And that works with everything.
yeah, everything at all. Like you pick it up and it's just food to you. Everything is food. And it's not everything is edible once. It's just everything is edible. You pick it up, if you think it's food, it's food.
That would be incredibly efficient. You could actually survive. You would never buy food again, and you could survive by buying huge stacks of printer paper. If I could do that, I would. If I could just live off of printing paper.
Some people like the taste of paper.
Exactly.
I do not.
If only that was actually nutritious and beneficial to my composition.
Everything's edible but tastes like garbage. Yeah, everything you pick up tastes exactly like you expect it to taste like.
Definitely everything is edible is an incredible superpower. So let's add a negative to
Mm-mm.
it. Immediately, my head comes up. Everything is edible, but you can never jump.
Wait, okay, right. Do you actually jump very much in real life?
No. You can never jump again.
Like, I don't find myself jumping that often.
No.
It would be problematic, though, if there's like a just slightly wider than your legs gap and you need to get across because it's life or death. And you can't jump it, so it's like, well, guess I'll just die then. So
Everything is edible, but every 20 minutes your arms pop off and you have to put them back in like an action figure.
like Mr. Potato Head. Put him
Yes.
back on.
Everything is edible, but your limbs are abide by the rules of Mr. Potato Head. There you go.
All we need to defeat you now is just put a jar just slightly too high up so you cannot jump to it, or your arms fall off on the way.
It's really frustrating because your Mr. Potato Head limbs are constantly falling off and you constantly have to reattach them. So you try to figure out how to attach them permanently, like put glue and tape, but it never works and they constantly come off and it's such a bother. And you hate falling apart in public. People start screaming. It's horrible, but at least you can eat everything.
You know what? I'll take it. I love to eat.
There you go. Well, I mean, it's less of a debuff for you because you live indoors and you have a family, so they'd be very well acquainted with your Mr. Potato Head limbs, so they'd be used to it, so it wouldn't bother them one bit. So honestly, this would be a great power for you because you can eat everything, and the negatives are counteracted by the fact that you don't go out that much.
Well, there'd be a good reason to make people go away. It's like, you're just timing, it's like every 20 minutes your arms fall off. All right, wicked. Let's go to the shop with the 20-minute timer. I'll walk through the shop, go through the doors. My arms fall off. Everybody runs away. Then I get to shop in peace. Winner, winner.
You lunge your head forwards and it pops off like a doulahan, and people start screaming, but you're perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's like, not a problem. It's just how honestly, I'm feeling like this is an incredible benefit, honestly. Make people go away. Perfect.
The ultimate introvert recipe for success.
Just remove your head.
Eating everything and a human repellent tool. What's not to love?
Yeah, everything about that. Sign me up. If I didn't, gosh darn it, get me on that secret government experiment list for eat everything and my limbs will fall off. As long as I can reattach them.
Future superhero stories, some fuel to add to their flames.
Right. Well, that concludes the juicing, bro. That was everything I had to juice from you today. So
thank you for the juicing. I feel thoroughly juiced.
Excellent. I do have a little something in a commiseration, I suppose, for being the first person to be juiced. Let me just show you it right here. You have become a Boweverage. I have juiced you into a Boweverage. The juicing has been complete.
Added calcium. A Boweverage.
The juicing is complete. Oh. You may now drink thyself.
Send me that through Discord. That's becoming an emote.
Absolutely. I just want to say thank you very much for coming and being juiced. I hope it was not too much of the experience of a bad variety.
Oh, it was absolutely lovely. Honestly, I'd love to do this again. If whatever the future holds, I'd love to be a part of it again. It's been delightful. I hope you have many guests on your beautiful juice endeavor, and I love being a Boweverage.
I am glad that you. I am glad that you have been successfully juiced into a Boweverage. And thank you very much.
I can hydrate myself with myself. It's true.
Yes, that could be your hydrate redeem. You hydrate, that just comes up for you.
Yeah, I could probably make like 2D PNGs assault my face whenever I get a hydration beverage.
Yes. But no, thank you very much. You are more than welcome on any time. I'm sure. I think I have a couple of people that are wanting to be juiced. If not, I shall juice you some more.
I'll always happy to be juice. There's so many horrifying liquids that yet remain within my bodily composition that I'm sure you'll be able to take advantage of. They're disgusting and horrible, and the smell of decaying flesh is hard to ignore, but you know, juice for the moose.
Yummy!
Delicious.
Delightful, in fact. And that's it from the juice room for today. Thank you so much for listening. I've been your host, Moose, and we have had the delightful Bowenthius, the Bone Wizard, as our guest. If you enjoyed it, don't forget, like, subscribe, all that other good stuff. And thank you again. Bye-bye.